Okay, ladies and gentlemen, in today's video, we will be discussing where on God's green earth Sakurai and his band of Waddle Dee misfits could be picking up their 6 next playable fighters for the Fighter Pass from, and details surrounding that, and so on and so on. Here we go. To begin, I think it's worth mentioning that in a recent interview, Sakurai did state that development of the second Fighter Pass for Smash Ultimate has been affected by the current events going on in the world. Because of this, development of the Fighter Pass has virtually been put on halt. Personally, I can't really tell you whether or not this excludes the developers or any of them really from working or doing anything from home, but to be completely honest, they just really need a well-deserved break. So it kind of sucks, that this is the conditions that they're getting a break on, but they're getting a break, which is very well, needed and deserved. Despite this, since we're all stuck at home twiddling our thumbs anyway, we're going to sit here and do the exact same thing we did last time. Get our hopes up and inevitably get crushed by another Fire Emblem sortie. Being completely honest, I don't know who they could be considering at all anymore. There is a crap ton of talk just about every third-party character, second-party character, any party in general on the board. So all we're going to do is discuss the ones that I think are most reasonable and why. We'll also shoot for a new time frame, which we'll actually be doing first, given the December 2021 window is probably going to get pushed back to February or March of 2022 if, I don't know, that's just kind of my ballpark guess. So before this whole, pandemic started, this is firstly kind of how I thought the release schedule would go down. Fighter 6 would be revealed at E3 2020, released in the fall of 2020. Fighter 7 would be revealed in the fall of 2020, released this winter. Fighter 8 would be revealed in January and February of 2021, released in late March or early April of 2021. Fighter 9 and 10 revealed at E3 2021. Number 9 releases middle of summer, number 10 releases middle of fall. And then lastly, Fighter 11 is both revealed and released in December of 2021. So I still feel like the majority of this could still be accurate with, a 2 or 3 month delay in there somewhere. Obviously, E3 is not happening in 2020 because it was canceled given, the current situations going on around. And, Lord only knows what's really going to be of E3 next year. Sony wasn't going this year anyway. Sony skipped out in 2019. I believe another company was skipping out this year. So it's just kind of every man for himself when it comes to huge summer gaming conferences and all these different development teams. Because it wasn't just Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo at E3. There were other companies as well, such as Square Enix, Ubisoft, and more. So it's gonna kind of be interesting to see what they do about the whole no E3 thing, and not just Nintendo, Microsoft, and Sony, because they have their own platforms. They have a whole system that they can dedicate any of their updates and stuff to, whereas Ubisoft and Square Enix doesn't really. So yeah, but anyway, that release schedule is kind of what I feel like is still rather valid. Obviously, throw in a couple delays here or there. So I'm not really going to try and, fluctuate where those delays could fit because, this whole situation going on around the world is just really super vague. And no one really knows when it's going to get better. People say earliest being July is when we can actually see real good progress. Personally, I'm not sure. I hope and pray that it's not going to be nearly that long because that's several months from now. But you never know. We are literally living in, making of history, people. But regardless, let's get back on topic here. So with that release schedule out of the way, let's get into, the real meat of this discussion, the characters. So let's throw away all reason, all patterns, all common sense, and embrace only madness. I say this to mean that I don't think the Fighter Pass will be as painful when it comes to an enforced pattern. The first Fighter Pass seemed to have some kind of a pattern that it was following until Byleth came and, kicked the door down in your face. Whether that was intentional or not, it's just kind of what happened, and because of that, I am left with a very dissatisfying taste in my mouth. Not because of Byleth, just the way that the Fighter Pass ended with Byleth. I'm not going to assume anything regarding patterns until we get at least the first half, being the first 3 characters, announced that follow any type of said pattern. So if the first 3 characters' names start with an A, then dadgummit, the 4th character I'm going to predict now is Alfalfa. When it comes to potential third-party candidates, here is the list of characters that I think are most likely. Crash or Spyro, one or the other. I don't think we would get both, just one or the other. Doomguy and Master Chief, one or the other. Dante from Devil May Cry, Steve from Minecraft, and then another Square Enix rep, specifically from either Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy. So you can look at Sora, you can look at Noctis, you can look at the Black Mage. There's a lot of work to be done there, but I think that that is a likely candidate. Out of these potential 8 fighters, if you count all the ones that I said one or the other are potential on, I think Crash and Spyro or Steve is the most likely out of the bunch. Not saying that we couldn't get the bunch, but when I'm sitting here and thinking about these characters in full and the circumstances that surround them, such as their companies and how they're already represented in Smash, those 2, being Crash, Spyro, or Steve, seem like the most obvious pick for me. When it comes to second party, the list is much, much smaller, consisting of a Pokemon representation. I'm going to spitball Sceptile or Toxtricity here, Geno, and Porky. Between these 3, I think a new Pokemon and Geno are the most likely. I would put Pokemon at a higher percentage rate, but you just never really know. Geno is a very special case given the director's love for the character and the fanbase's demand. There's also a lot of evidence pointing towards Geno, such as the fact his Mii costume is still missing. Same thing with Lloyd Irving, and I did forget to include him for the third list of characters for the third parties, but it's oh well. Vash will, kill me later. Lastly, we have potential assist trophy and spirit promotions. So this is strictly like the first party bunch of the group. I know that not all the characters I'm going to list are first party, but the majority of spirits and assist trophies are first party, so I'm just going to throw all of these down as first party. So I say assist trophy and spirit promotions, but it's also, on the other hand, first parties as well. So I've already voiced my opinions about assist trophy and spirit promoted characters for Smash Bros. In this video here, the link will be in the description. You really need to watch this to completely understand my thoughts on how spirit promotion and assist trophies could work as playable characters. I'm not one of those people who thinks, oh yeah, anything's possible. No, I do have standards. I do have standards, and this video voices them out really well. So please go watch that to understand my opinions. But anyways, here's a list of characters that I think would be possible under those circumstances. Waluigi, Shantae, Paper Mario, Shovel Knight, Girahim or Midna, and Akira. Between this handful of characters, I think that Waluigi, Shantae, and Shovel Knight are the most likely. I think the remainder characters are ones that would eventually make their way into Smash, but the 3 that I just listed in particular are just so iconic and the outcry for them is so outrageous. If they have to put in any of them, I feel like it would definitely be those 3. So out of all the characters I have listed, like third party, second party, and the spirit promotion stuff, I have listed 18 potential characters here, but I personally believe that no more than 7 of them will be included for the second Fighter Pass. You heard me right. 7. While Piranha Plant supposedly was meant for the base game and was cut due to time constraints, people still associate him with the Fighter Pass's DLC for the first one. I don't know why, since it's very clear that he's separate. But I think that we're going to get a similar case here with the second Fighter Pass. Like, people are still going to be under the impression of, hey, Plant is part of the first pass, when in reality, Plant is not. But I do think we are going to get a additional solo bonus character. This character would come first, before the Volume 2 gets officially shown off with details, but will help guide the consumer into what to expect for Volume 2. Plant did a horrible job at that, because Plant was obviously a case of something that was supposed to be in the base game. But anyways, in my totally professional opinion, out of the previously mentioned characters, all of them, I believe Crash Bandicoot will take the place as the solo bonus character outside and before Volume 2. Following up, I'm just going to basically spitball these to you. Following up, I believe Shantae will come in as the first Volume 2 character, being the exception to the whole Spirits Can't Be Characters rule. Shantae will be the represented fighter for the whole promotion idea. Secondly, I do in fact expect a Pokemon. A Pokemon in this spot particular will show the audience that this fighter pass is and will be different. I'm not entirely sure which Pokemon they would choose from, as I personally feel like it would either be from Gen 8 or one that's from Gen 4 or younger. Or actually older, it would be older. The best ideas that come to mind include Toxtricity, Rillaboom, Grimmsnarl, Infernape, or Sceptile. I suppose they could choose any Pokemon in reality, and quite frankly, it doesn't even have to be a humanoid one. Seeing Torterra or something would be downright amazing, because I'm sure that they could make that playable. Thirdly, I expect an indie character. I wasn't too entirely sure who specifically to put here. I know I mentioned Shovel Knight by name earlier, but I personally feel like Shantae would be the pure exception to the whole Spirit or Assist Trophy promotion thing. Granted, I also believe that if any indie character would be getting into Smash, it would first and foremost be Shovel Knight. However, we have been living in a golden age of independent games. Shovel Knight, Celeste, A Hat in Time, Hollow Knight are all great candidates to who could take the spot in Smash. If you want my personal opinion, I feel like the Knight from Hollow Knight would be the coolest and easiest one to add. His moveset is basically already in his own game, super easy to convert, really unique character, stands out from the rest of the cast. The Knight from Hollow Knight would be awesome. With 3 characters in, we now have 3 characters left. For our 4th character, I propose will be Dante. While Dante wasn't a character that I listed as an emphasis, the current lineup I have in mind for this fighter pass just wouldn't make sense without him. Dante clearly fits the bill. That's all I really have to say. For our 5th character, we have Doomguy or Master Chief. Between these two, I'm not quite sure. Even though the two individuals are from different companies, the two are very similar in design and functionality from their first-person shooting franchises. I suppose that both could happen, but I think Nintendo would aim for more diversity, and they'll go with one over the other. Last, but most certainly not least, I feel like the last character is either going to be Steve from Minecraft or Waluigi. As much as it pains me to admit it, I could see them promoting Waluigi for the absolute of it. I would much rather prefer Steve over Waluigi literally any other day of the week. But Waluigi in Smash is a reality that I am willing to admit is possible. So there you have it, folks. Our 7 next characters for Smash Ultimate's second fighter pass. So again, these are characters that I feel like are most likely. I'm not saying we will get any of those or anything like that, but these are just the ones that I expect. I'll probably do a video later on characters that I want with 100% pure raw bias, but yeah, that's this video. Hope you guys like it, and happy quarantine!